general idea that comes down to that all aspects of your life can't be at their highest at the same time, to the idea that everyone has an average, and when you want to rise above it in any way, you need to sacrifice something else. Well, of course. Everyone says you need to sacrifice to achieve greatness. Sacrifice means hard work, dedicating your time to it, shit like that. Except that this approach doesn't really lead to success for either of us. I challenged the theory. He wasn't discouraged. No, because that's not a sacrifice for you. In theory, you're fine with spending 5 hours sitting down and working on something. You just don't know what that is. No sacrifice is a sacrifice. It has to be something you care about. I've been studying the topic, he started lecturing. Humanity always had sacrificial rituals, and they make perfect sense. I'd usually laugh it off at this stage, but I think that even then, I started to notice it was all becoming way too concrete and obsessive. We had more of those conversations, but the more of a thing it became for him, the less committal I was about agreeing with his philosophy. At one point, I started seriously suspecting he was losing it and becoming a fanatic. One night, he called me crying and telling me he took it too far, killed his cat so that he could write, and that it was a total idiot who deserved to die. I could tell he was drunk as fuck. After that incident, he suddenly stopped and calmed down. He was no longer talking about his book, sacrifices, equilibriums, and metaphysics. Just normal shit, politics, exercise routine, work issues, family and all. Mostly about trying to drink less and work on his marriage. It seems he re-embraced normal life, avoided the topic of what happened that night, or turned it into a deeper discussion about alcoholism and getting his shit together. I didn't push. Maybe I was relieved, if a bit bored by this change. Then his youngest son died. Accidental suffocation with the blanket. Apparently it happens more often than you'd think. Look, I'm not a writer, you can see where this is going, but as clear as it may seem here, put together in a linear recount of events, it certainly didn't cross my mind that Andy had anything to do with it. It's easy to look back now and connect all the elements, but to accept the possibility is much more bizarre. I just felt bad for him and had no idea what to say. I was a weak friend at the time. I thought he needed some space and time with his family, and I needed a reason to not awkwardly interact with someone going through things I can't possibly understand. So after a cliche message expressing my condolences, which took me a day and a half and the help of ChatGPT to draft, I think the result was the eloquent, "Andy, I'm so sorry for your loss. No idea what to say. Let me know if there's anything I can do." I kind of stepped back. A few months have passed. I'm not proud of it, but I rarely actively miss people. Then he reached out to me and asked me to get together for some beers. I started with another unconvincing expression of condolences, but luckily he accepted it without any protest and lucidly started talking about how he was doing, the terrible state his wife was in, and how confused and lost his little girl was. He said his home was a terribly depressing place, and that writing was now his only escape. It wasn't exactly a cheerful declaration, but a few weeks after he sent me a book draft, it was excellent. I loved it. I instantly felt a pang of jealousy. A short while later, he managed to publish it. The book kept getting some traction, slowly but surely, and soon enough I was truly jealous and I started to avoid him again. He didn't share my problem anymore. He created something, it was good, and people started to recognize it. Even if it never gets huge, it will always remain as something he can feel proud of. That was better than anything I was doing. Then again, being jealous of the man who lost his child was brutal, but I was, and I didn't feel like seeing him. One day, he invited me for some drinks while his wife and daughter were away to see her parents. He insisted I come. This time, he was beaming. It seemed that he was waiting for me to say something until he couldn't wait anymore. "Can you see that it's working now?" he asked. I gave a confused look. "The sacrifice." He told me, to my great discomfort, that he went for all or nothing, that the cat worked just enough to confirm his suspicions, but he knew he needed something big. He had to do something drastic or forever resign to mediocrity, and how his son's death instantly removed that barrier inside of him and gave him focus. Of course, it hurt. He toned it down. Without the pain, the sacrifice wouldn't be worth anything. But your son, was that not an accident? Happy accident, I thought. Or, he replied flatly. He continued, "Look, I don't care. I know you won't say anything to anyone, or at least not seriously. And if you did, who'd believe you? You can't prove anything, and you're way too lazy to get into any drama and risk looking stupid." He was right. And maybe you also know there's truth in it. Maybe you get it. The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because you're my friend. Maybe the only true friend I have. Because I want to help you. But your problem is that you avoid having anything to lose. That's why you're in your equilibrium where you can't create. What? What, should I find a girl and make a kid so I had something to sacrifice for my artistic masterpiece? I asked him in some combination of shock and numbness of disbelief. He shrugged. This method is more concrete than you think, and it works. My problem is that I need to keep at it. The success made me happy, and again, I'm balanced. In fact, as much as it hurts to lose my son, and as disgusting as this is to say, I can live without him. It was much more painful to watch my wife and daughter despair. That was truly painful and horrible. The guilt made me create, and now I'm finally leaving my mark on this world and my marriage is falling apart. He took a big sip. You sacrificed, I said. As time passed, my friend got a divorce, lost his beloved sister and her family in a tragic gas leak accident, wrote another book, and became semi-famous in an increasingly broader circle. I didn't read the book. We don't see each other often. I judge him, but I feel like a hypocrite. The truth is, I am consumed with envy, while the advice he gave me is stuck in my head. Meanwhile, time keeps on passing, and I still achieved nothing. You need to open up a hole in your equilibrium and then fill it with what you want. It's a swap. Humanity always understood the concept. A deal with the devil, a sacrifice. Same principle. Maybe I should stop him before anyone else is sacrificed. I know how much he loves his daughter. I think about it sometimes, but it all sounds too insane. Like some dumb fiction. Besides, he was right, wasn't he? His way worked, and I'm jealous because I have nothing to sacrifice. It would be better to work on my own life rather than try to ruin his. He's right. I never built anything, so I'd have nothing to lose. We all have our reasons and fears. Maybe I should face mine. Finally allow myself some closeness. Stop pushing aside every girl I start to like. Meet someone, invest in the relationship, put my time and effort towards building something, and then perhaps I'll be able to find my creative drive.